everyone, and welcome to the big show. I am your host, Jerk, and thank you for still being here. I know it's been a very long while since we've brought you the finest toilet humor in video game boat world, which, when I say that out loud, reminds me of how niche this audience really is, but clearly passionate. So if you're curious as to why, I wish I could concoct some elaborate ruse, but really, there isn't one, I'm afraid. We're just trying to get back to the real world. But fear not, we're not back in it yet, so we can continue to live our video game life in the boat world. And that brings us to today's guest. You know, the last time we had them on was a while ago, and I think I mentioned how middle of the road they were. But much like our friend the Vanguard, baby's got a new look. So let's get them out here. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the legendary tier U.S. light cruiser. Give it up for Worcester. Worcester. Or is it Worcester? Well, it really doesn't matter because now it identifies as the Brewster. And not the punky kind. The kind that has been shooting roids, having their plums shrink, and now just spits hot fire at everybody. This recently buffed version really is a little too good now. Its turning is tighter, its shells somehow magically penetrate thicker armor, and its reload is about 25% faster than where it was before. And this may not be a popular opinion, but I think this is better than the Minotaur currently. And that's because of its 32mm bow, and in my opinion, if Ouija is going to give the Worcester all these buffs, it really needs to have its bow and stern reduced down to a far more sensible 25mm. But we're not there yet, so we might as well abuse it while we can. And that's going to get us to today's match. I was really hoping that with the 3 new maps added, I would never see Hotspot again, but no dice, and so here we are. And if the sound team is doing this right, you'll barely notice that I am in a division with the one and only Cranky Kraken, who is closing in on his goal of becoming the CVCC for Wowzels. So, if you're interested in carrier play, tips, tricks, strategies, etc., then I have a link to his channel in the description, and you can go check it out, because let's be honest, none of the other CCs really focus on carriers. I mean, I have the Kaga right now, and I haven't even assigned a commander to it, let alone take it for a spin, or sit as I play carriers. Anyway, let's get the commander and modules for this ship up on the big screen, and it looks like the Worcester isn't the only one changing their look. Today we have Freaky Beepley after a trip to the Salon, kicking it with Mikawa and, Takao? I'm not really sure. So what's really the biggest change on here? Is it the reload or is it the new magic pin? Honestly, it's a little bit of both. First off, though, let me warn you that this P-Bag is going to nearly dev strike me here, so very nicely done. Check this out. I think they probably get 3 or 4 citadels right there. Anyway, what does this magic penetration mean? Well, before, these shells would only penetrate 25mm of armor unless you had equilibrium of power on, which if you were to go back and watch my last Worcester video, you can see me haplessly shooting a bow in Ojakov with HE, doing no damage. But now, all of those cruisers out there can take damage when they do the only move they know, which is to bow tank or kite. Big deal, you may be saying. I mean, I ran equilibrium of power anyway. True, but now it is less important for you to do so. I mean, yes, you'll shatter a lot of shells on battleships without it on, but with the chance of fire being turned up in this update as well, I mean, I think my fire chance here now on this build is about 15%. Combined with that much faster reload, and well, let's just say Shelly Beepley doesn't have equilibrium of power, and who really notices? You know who also doesn't notice? This battleship must not have noticed me right there, but fortunately, I will say that my game settings are not recording what I am saying in this game, because it would not be radio friendly at this point. Anyway, moving on. I believe my exact words were something like, well, if I had known I was going to get screwed, I would have put on some lipstick because I like to look pretty when I get boned. Anyway, so while I'm going to hang out here on this cap, I'm very tempted to just go chase down the carrier on the red team at this point, but my common sense was tingling, and instead, I am not going to throw the game, at least not yet, and instead play for the win. So, while at the beginning of this match, I moved in here to take this very aggressive position to get the cap, I'm going to be able to relocate and do a more practical maneuver for this ship, and that is to park behind an island and spam HE. And if you've ever been on the internet, whether that's Reddit, Facebook, or Discord, you've probably seen people complaining about the HE spam. And if you've ever been in a battleship, then you will know what a pain in the rear HE spam can be. I know. I get it. It makes me mad too. But the counter for HE spam is very simple. One, you remove what's spotting you, and if you can't do that, then you just reposition and force the HE spammer out. You force them to leave their comfort zone. So what you are going to see is the opposite of that. We're going to see a Tirpitz come out into the open, and then, yeah, well, you'll be able to guess what happens. So this Tirpitz is coming out this way, and boy, do I want to shoot whatever ship that might be, but who knows, thanks to our cloaking technology. But this Tirpitz, the right move, in my opinion, would be to head north out of the sea cap and head towards A. We already know they have escort, and the Ochakov is mostly dead anyway, so the worst thing a battleship can do is go out into the open to be spit roasted and smothered in a nice Carolina vinegar sauce. I might need to order some barbecue. You know, I've never had that Alabama white barbecue sauce. I wonder if it's good. I mean, it must be. I mean, I always grew up with mostly like the KC Masterpiece, the Kansas City style barbecue, but in time I have grown to enjoy a nice dry rub, and always particular to the vinegar based barbecue sauces. What are we talking about here? Oh right, we are barbecuing a Tirpitz. So yeah, our Ochakov is going back in there to try and get off another torp strike, and I guess throw themselves away? I don't know. But check this out. You see those torps that the Tirpitz put out? Our champagne from the south, I mean, those are spotted right now, right? But our champagne that's coming around from the south is actually going to take a couple of those somehow, even though they've been spotted for, I don't know, like 15 minutes. Anyway, I'm just going back to barbecuing this Tirpitz. I'm going to switch over to the AP here just because I want to see what the damage really is when I'm getting some AP at this range. You know, we're always trying to do some science, and it looks like it's mostly shatters. But, so, you know, we'll just switch back to HE. But these guys, I don't know if they're flooding out too, but I do have a couple fires on them. So, yeah, that is going to take care of the Tirpitz. And that is going to turn my attention to something else. Something in particular. Something that I would consider my least favorite ship in the game, as you can tell by our patented technology that is removing any trace of them from any game. So, I'm heading north to head them off at the pass, and because I also want to make sure that they don't get up on that cap, because we are head on points right now. And if they were to flip a cap, we're going to run into a real situation of being able to maintain kind of our point lead. So I'm coming out here to keep them honest. I've gone ahead and put on my hydro just in case, and we're going to start unloading on them. And they wisely drop the smoke. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm not using my radar right now. And the reason for that is simple. It's because she is headed away from me, and I didn't want to waste it if I wasn't sure that I'd be able to sink them immediately. Well, yes, jerk, but aren't you in a division with your friendly carrier? Couldn't they just keep them spotted for you? Yeah, well, you know, my answer to that would be yes, but are you used to playing with a good carrier player? I know I'm not, so, you know, I guess this is really just a force of habit. There we go, picking up our clear skies. One of the joys of taking these light cruisers out, man, they just chew up planes. So I'm headed back towards it, and Cranky's flying over to spot the destroyer again. And, you know, this is a thing of beauty, so let's just sit here and watch one of my favorite things to do, erasing Wargaming's mistakes. So that's our 4th ship sunk, and I gotta say, a very satisfying one. And it was only around this point that I was like, oh, hey, I might be able to get a Kraken here. And that's where I was checking to see what the last ship was that was on the other team that I'm probably going to run into. And it's the Minotaur, and check that out. They don't have much health anyway, but even still, I think in a 1v1, I'd still prefer the Worcester to the Minotaur. The Minotaur, you know, they can't bow tank HE, and if they give any sort of broadside, this can Citadel the Minotaur even at like 10 kilometer, as I've essentially two-shot a Minotaur with the new and improved Worcester. Not that the AP changed it all. Anyway, Cranky's going in there to get another drop on them and hopefully not obliterate them, because, man, I hadn't had a Kraken this week. I've just been playing Brandenburg incessantly, and all I can get are 4 kill games there. But, yeah, I know there's planes coming in right now. We have the point lead, so me getting sunk, it's not that big of a deal, so long as I take out this Minotaur in exchange, because that's the last ship that can actually hurt Cranky. So right here, I believe we get the shot off, and we finally pick up Kraken 367 in the Worcester. Probably should have turned left here, but I took a right at Albuquerque, and the carrier is actually going to sink me with this drop. Now, I could force you all to watch the rest of this, which is not particularly exciting. It is just a nice, slow car chase of the Parzival chasing Cranky in the Lexington, but I won't make you watch it, so let's just go ahead and skip to the end of this one. Alright, let's see this scoreboard. 2,973 XP, just shy of a very good game, and Cranky right there behind me, but a GG to both teams. And that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you're ready to take your hard-earned Worcester out there and teach those noobs who paid their way to a minnow a lesson, give this video a like. If you don't have the Worcester because you only have the Shimakaze, give the video a dislike. Questions, comments, war stories of the ship pre-buff, leave them down below. And if you want to be there for our next random number-generated video, consider hitting subscribe. Thanks for watching, folks. I will get back out there, though I won't say for another one soon, and we will talk